Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to a new video on this channel. Today we are going to be talking about purplekiss, their journey, and everything that happened in their career that wasn't exactly what many people expected. So without anything else to say, let's get started. Purplekiss is a group under 𝒉𝒍 Entertainment that debuted with 7 members, who are now jieun, doohee, 𝒉𝒍𝒍𝒐, Yuki, Chaeyeon, Suwon, and Park Jiun. They debuted in November 2022. But the story of purplekiss starts long before their debut. We started hearing about the members in 2018, when 𝒉𝒍 announced a project called Project 365, where they followed a group of female trainees in their training. That's when we met Jiun, jieun, and doohee. These 3 trainees had auditioned for mixx 9, a survival program in which the goal was to debut a 9-member group. Doohee was the only one who made it in, but unfortunately she didn't make the final lineup. Jiun and jieun later participated in Produce 48, the show that created IZ*ONE, although neither of them managed to debut. Time passed and other members joined the project until the full lineup of purplekiss was formed. Their debut was highly anticipated because many of the members had appeared on programs, and were already somewhat known, and also 𝒉𝒍 is known for debuting Mamamoo, one of the most talented girl groups, so people had high expectations for their debut. They released My Heart Skip a Beat as a pre-debut single, and they were able to showcase their talents with a strong song, a choreography created by themselves, and an original rap by Yuki, who debuted as a composer. Additionally, they released a ballad called Can We Talk Again for those who wanted to hear more of their vocals. After that, they officially debuted with Panzona. They were one of the most talked about groups of 2021. They had a dark concept that few girl groups dare to try, so they had a lot of potential for the future. The mini-album debuted with 18,000 copies sold in the first month. Additionally, the girls appear in the credits of all the songs on the album, whether in lyrics, composition, or production. After this, they released Hybe with the title track Zombie. It also received a very positive reception and more than doubled their sales in the first week, with almost 44,000 copies sold. In March 2022, they returned with Me. And also the 4th B-side track of the album called Pretty Psycho was used to promote the release. This comeback sold 36,000 copies in its first month, which was a slight decrease but not too worrying. In July 2022, they released Geeky Land with the title track Nerdy. Okay, I'm nerdy, but I'm not stupid. Their sales dropped a little to 30,000 copies sold in the first month, but in overall sales, this has been their best-selling album. They closed 2022 with the announcement that member Jiun would leave the group due to ongoing physical health issues and anxiety symptoms during group activities. The first comeback of 2023 was with their album Cabin Fever and the title track Sweet Juice. This song continued their dark concept that defines them. However, they didn't reach 20,000 copies sold in the first month, but this is currently one of the group's most famous songs, as it reached position 27 on the Circle chart in Korea, the highest position purplekiss has ever achieved. That same year, they debuted in Japan, expanding their popularity in that country. At this point, Yuki joined the program Queendom Puzzle, a show in which female idols would form a new project group with the participants competing for limited spots, and Yuki managed to place 3rd, debuting in 𝒉𝒍𝒍𝒐. Many thought that even though the program could give visibility to purplekiss, it was a risky move because Yuki would now have to be active in 2 groups simultaneously, with the heavy workload that entails. Nevertheless, 𝒉𝒍𝒍𝒐 only released 1 mini-album and has not returned to the industry. In July, Swan became the first member of the group to debut as a soloist with the single album 20. Then in September, the group released their first single album called Festa, with the title track 7 Heaven. An energetic concept that strayed far from their usual dark theme. it's unclear why they would come back with a song like this when probably many fans were paying attention after Yuki's participation in Queendom Puzzle during one of the promotion weeks. Yuki had to be absent because she was promoting with 𝒉𝒍𝒍𝒐. Apparently, it was during this comeback that the company began telling the members they had to meet certain objectives or else the group would disband, causing great concern among the members, who had many suggestions but weren't being listened to.
우리가 이렇게 팀을 지속하는 게 힘든 상황에 있다는 거를 언제부터 들었냐면 우린 세븐헤븐 때부터 들었어. 여기 있는 사람들만 너무 악의 없이 들어줬으면 좋겠어요. 악의 말고 악의 없이. 세븐헤븐 때부터 뭔가 너네 뭐 이거 못하면 해체야. 너네 뭐 이거 그다음 너네한테 뭐 몇 번에 뭐가 있고 이런 그런 류의 얘기들을 저희는 그때부터 들었어요. 그래서 너무 일단 조마조마했고 그래도 이건 해보자요. 그래서 버스킹도 했고 버스킹도 처음에 멤버들이 제안해서 쇼케이스를 못하게 된다고 들었을 때 버스킹도 우리가 하자고 했었고 뭔가 물론 해서도 어려운 상황이었겠죠? 그렇기 때문에 이제 뭘 해주고 싶어도 못 해주는 상황이었겠지만 우리도 이제 그 안에서 최대한 뭔가 대체할 수 있는 건 대체하고 싶었고 그런 것들이 꽤 있었어요.
After this, they released Bad B Behavior and On My Bike, starting their tours and performing numerous concerts in America. In 2025, Purplekiss joined the program I-DLE, a highly criticized show, not only because the judge was literally an artificial intelligence, but also because it referred to the groups as fated groups, involved manipulation controversies and biases, and practically everyone was calling for the cancellation of the program. Purplekiss lost in rounds 1 and 2 of the program, but even so, the members Swan and Go-eun were supposed to be part of the project group from the show, yet that never materialized. After that, they released Do Re Mi, marking their worst first month of album sales with 15,000 copies sold. On August 4th, unexpectedly, RBW announced that Purplekiss would end their activities after their tour, although before that they were going to release an English album called Our Now. In addition to this, they released 2 final songs, A Violet to Remember and I Breathe, as a farewell to the fans. There has been a lot of controversy, not only because of the disbandment, but also because one might assume that their contracts were ending and neither side wanted to renew or continue the group. Yet that is not what happened. The girls remain tied to RBW until March 2028, so then why dissolve the group? They officially disbanded in November 2025, and it is true that very little time has passed to know if there are any individual plans for them, but from what I have seen so far, nothing has been announced. Their only appearances have been on their personal social media accounts. For me, the main problem Purplekiss had was not talent or music, but the contact of their company. RBW was, for a long time, a very good company. It grew quite organically thanks to the success of Mamamoo, a group that consolidated slowly and gave the company economic stability and artistic prestige. However, after that success, RBW started expanding rapidly. They bought other companies, invested in different businesses, and began managing many groups at the same time. The problem is that it seems they were not prepared to handle so many projects simultaneously. Having multiple groups requires not only money, but also creative teams and constant promotion. In that scenario, Purplekiss seems to have ended up in a kind of middle ground, not abandoned, but also not prioritized. And this is especially frustrating because the group had so many strong points. They had a very original concept, different from what most fourth-generation girl groups were doing. Their songs were catchy but without being generic, and artistically they were very solid, both vocally and creatively. They were not an empty group or made just to follow trends. There were people saying that the dark concept caught attention but didn't bring fame, and now I can see that maybe that is true. In fact, while preparing this video, I looked at their numbers in more detail, and that's when I had a small shock with reality. I thought they were much better known than their actual figures show. On Spotify, for example, their most streamed song is Sweet Juice with about 21 million streams, which is okay, but it's not an especially high number for a group of their generation, and if we look at other songs, the difference is huge. Do Re Mi, for example, barely reaches 1 million streams. This makes me think that maybe Purplekiss wasn't as commercially viable as many fans believed, because although they have a name within the K-pop industry, they are not a nuga group and most fans of the genre know who they are. It seems the casual audience just didn't listen to their music regularly, they didn't manage to cross that barrier between respected group and massively consumed group. Yes, they had a loyal and sizable fandom that buys albums and supports the group in every comeback, but that's not always enough. In the fourth generation, where competition is brutal, you need commercial presence, virality, and constant visibility to compete with the big names, and Purplekiss, with little general promotion, scarce variety show appearances, and almost no commercial push, couldn't compete on equal footing. Also, I feel like the girls have so much talent and maybe the company didn't promote them individually enough. For example, Swan is easily one of the best voices of her generation, but she's never included when people talk about top vocalists, probably because her immense talent isn't widely recognized. Yuki stands out a lot in rap, and if I start talking about Doohee and 𝒉𝒆𝒍𝒍𝒐 dancing, I would never finish. Their skills weren't fully showcased. I think Purplekiss was a group that got trapped between their artistic potential and the limitations of their company. They had everything to stand out, but not the right context to do it on a large scale.
And this has been all. I hope you like it. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. It would help me a lot. See ya.